You know, we all deal with it, don't we? That quiet, lifelong journey of trying to figure out who we really are. It's never some big, sudden discovery. It's more of a slow burn. And that's exactly what we're going to get into today.
Our whole exploration today really starts with this stunning metaphor. Just think about it, a river. It's always moving, always carving out new paths, and it never, ever stops to ask itself what it is. It just flows. This idea, this sense of constant becoming, is the thread we're going to follow. But here's the thing, we're not rivers. We do ask. And this is the question, isn't it? Who am I really? It's like this soft hum underneath everything we do, this little question that follows us around our entire lives. It's one of the most human questions there is, and trying to find an answer can feel, well, both totally profound and just profoundly confusing.
So let's start right there with that internal search. We're going to explore what this question actually feels like from the inside, and how our relationship with it completely changes over time.
Because the question really does evolve with us. As a kid, it's all about wonder and endless possibility. Then you hit your teenage years, and it gets all tangled up in frustration and angst. But in adulthood, it doesn't just go away, it just gets quieter. It becomes this silent but always present search.
And this just nails that feeling, doesn't it? It feels like you're just a collage of borrowed things. You take a playlist from one friend, a style of clothing from another, maybe a drink order you saw in a movie. You're just trying on all these different versions of yourself, like outfits in a fitting room, just hoping one will finally feel right. But so often, none of them quite do.
Now, this whole internal search gets way more complicated because of this powerful, really human need we all have, the desire to belong. And that desire, it can lead to a kind of performance.
And this is where the conflict kicks in. Our authentic inner question, what do I actually love? It gets replaced by this outward-facing one. What will make them love me? We stop asking ourselves what we truly enjoy, and we start calculating what's going to help us fit in.
This leads to something called shape-shifting, and wow, is it exhausting. It's this bone-deep process of becoming a chameleon. You learn other people's favorite bands, their politics, their exact sense of humor. You become an expert in their preferences, but somewhere along the way, you can completely forget the sound of your own voice.
So what's the result of all that? Well, you become this beautiful, intricate mosaic, but it's built entirely from other people's expectations. You've carved off little pieces of yourself to be accepted. And one day, you look at the final picture and realize, wait, none of this really feels like me.
Okay, so you'd think that the modern world, with its literally infinite choices, would make all this easier. But as we're about to see, it actually creates a paradox that can be totally paralyzing.
I mean, this is what we're always told, right? The more options you have, the freer you are to build the perfect life and become the absolute perfect version of yourself. But the reality, it's often the complete opposite. When we feel like we can be anything, choosing just one thing means we have to grieve the thousands of other lives we could have lived. And that weight, it can lead to this kind of quiet, motionless panic. Think about it like this. You standing in a beauty store and you're facing a wall with 150 different lipsticks. They all look pretty promising, but at the same time, none of them feel exactly right. So you just stand there, swatching the same 3 shades over and over, completely stuck. That, in a nutshell, is the modern identity crisis.
But what if the goal isn't to find the one perfect choice out of a million? What if the real magic is just in the act of choosing something, anything, and then committing to it, walking that path fully?
And that idea, it leads to a really important turning point. We start to move away from the struggle and towards a new perspective, embracing the idea that maybe, just maybe, it's okay not to have it all figured out. So instead of seeing uncertainty as this terrifying empty void, we can actually reframe it as freedom. It's a blank page. It's a chance to build a self without the heavy weight of old expectations or that constant pressure to perform for other people.
So the path forward is really about a shift in direction. It's pretty simple, actually. First, you stop looking outside for all the answers. Second, you start looking inward, writing your own story. And finally, you start making choices, not because they're perfect, but because they are yours.
And all of this brings us right back to that central idea of the slow burn. It's this deep understanding that yourself, it isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a continuous, lifelong process. This is a perfect way to look at the two mindsets. So often, we think of the self as a finished sculpture, something we have to get just right. But maybe we're more like that river from the beginning, always shifting, always expanding, always becoming.
And that brings us to this really beautiful final thought. Your identity isn't some final published book. It's a lifelong draft, something that's constantly being revised and rewritten. There is no final version. And you know what? That's not a failure. That's the whole point.
So, we'll leave you with this question to chew on. If you let go of trying to find the finished you, and instead you just embrace the idea of writing the next page, what would it say? What honest chapter, big or small, will you choose to live next?